IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatter 030046100457. 12. Respiration. Respiration is the chemical reactions in living cells that release energy from glucose. Living organisms use the energy released in respiration for processes such as muscle contraction, protein synthesis, cell division, active transport, growth, the passage of nerve impulses and the maintenance of a constant body temperature. Increase in temperature to 35 to 40 degrees Celsius increases the rate of respiration of yeast. Aerobic respiration is the release of a relatively large amount of energy by breaking down glucose in the presence of oxygen. The word equation for aerobic respiration is glucose plus oxygen carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. The balanced chemical equation for aerobic respiration is C6H12O6 plus 6O26CO2 plus 6H2O plus 36 ATP. Anaerobic respiration is the release of a relatively small amount of energy by breakdown of glucose without using oxygen. The word equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast is glucose ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. The balanced chemical equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast is C6H12O62C2H5OH plus 2CO2 plus 2 ATP. The word equation for anaerobic respiration in muscles is glucose lactic acid C6H12O62C3H6O3. Anaerobic respiration of glucose in muscles produces lactic acid. Anaerobic respiration in yeast produces ethanol, alcohol, and carbon dioxide. Aerobic respiration releases much more energy per glucose molecule than anaerobic respiration. Lactic acid builds up in muscles due to anaerobic respiration, causing an oxygen debt. A fast heart rate and deeper breathing helps remove lactic acid by aerobic respiration in the liver during recovery. Respiration is the release of energy from food substances in cells. In aerobic respiration, oxygen is used to oxidize glucose to carbon dioxide and water, releasing a relatively large amount of energy. Anaerobic respiration is the release of energy from food substances in the absence of oxygen. It produces less energy than aerobic respiration. Keywords: photosynthesis, carbon dioxide, energy, stomata, glucose, metabolic rate, fermentation, lactic acid, anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration, oxygen debt. Glossary. Anorexia nervosa, an obsessive desire to lose weight. Sufferers can endanger their health by eating too little. Mucus, a sticky fluid produced by goblet cells. Mutation, a sudden unpredictable change in a gene or chromosome which alters the characteristics that it controls. Aerobic respiration, a type of respiration in which oxygen is consumed. Respiration, a sequence of chemical reactions which release energy from food. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatter 030046100457. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, a chemical that transfers energy released by respiration to other reactions in the body which absorb energy. Fermentation, the breakdown of sugar by organisms such as yeast and bacteria which takes place under anaerobic conditions. Mitochondria, singular mitochondrion rod-shaped organelles in the cytoplasm of cells, concerned with respiration. Oxygen debt, this occurs in muscle tissue during strenuous exercise, when oxygen is consumed faster than it can be supplied by the blood. Short MCQs with right answers. 1. The apparatus shown was used to investigate aerobic respiration in seeds. The apparatus was placed in a dark room. All environmental conditions were kept constant. 2. What will happen in the apparatus? 3. Why is yeast used in bread making? Anaerobic respiration produces carbon dioxide. 4. What is the word equation for aerobic respiration? Glucose plus oxygen carbon dioxide plus water. 5. The diagram represents the exchange of gases during breathing and during respiration in the body. What is represented by X? Lungs. 6. Which row about aerobic respiration is correct? 7. Why is yeast used in bread making? Anaerobic respiration produces carbon dioxide. 8. What is a product of anaerobic respiration in yeast? Alcohol. 9. The diagram shows some apparatus set up to produce alcohol by fermentation. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatha 030046100457. What is the purpose of the layer of oil? To prevent aerobic respiration. 10. How many molecules of carbon dioxide will be produced from the breakdown of 2 molecules of glucose in aerobic respiration? 12. Which equation shows the type of respiration that can cause an oxygen debt in muscles during vigorous exercise? Glucose lactic acid. 12. When yeast cells respire anaerobically, which substance is used and which substances are produced? 13. Which word equation represents aerobic respiration? Glucose plus oxygen carbon dioxide plus water. 14. Which word equation represents anaerobic respiration in human muscle? Glucose lactic acid. 15. Which statement about respiration is not correct? Plants take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. 16. Which process, inside cells, releases energy useful to the human body? Respiration. 17. What contains the greatest concentration of lactic acid? Muscle cells during vigorous exercise. 18. Why does anaerobic respiration in muscles release less energy than aerobic respiration? Energy remains trapped in lactic acid. 19. Which process uses the greatest amount of energy? Protein synthesis. 20. Which chemical could be used to show that cells are respiring aerobically? Lime water. 21. Which process releases the most energy from 1 molecule of glucose? Aerobic respiration. 22. Which processes depend on the action of enzymes? Digestion and respiration. 23. What is produced by anaerobic respiration in a muscle? Lactic acid carbon dioxide. X24. When does respiration take place in animals and plants? Animals, plants, all the time. 25. In which conditions do the leaves of a green plant respire? Bright light, darkness. 26. Which does not produce carbon dioxide? Saliva. 27. Which equation represents anaerobic respiration in yeasts? Glucose alcohol plus carbon dioxide. 28. Fitness training increases the concentration of lactic acid that runners can build up in their muscles before pain stops them running. More anaerobic respiration can take place in muscles. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatha 030046100457. 29. The following changes take place in an athlete's body during a 100m race. Increased production of carbon dioxide by muscles. 30. Which process does not depend on respiration? Diffusion of glucose. 31. Which process does not require energy? Tissue respiration. 32. Which substance builds up in a muscle as a result of anaerobic respiration? Lactic acid. 33. Which process does not result in an overall loss of energy from the organism? Photosynthesis in a green plant. 34. In the human breathing system, which features maintain the carbon dioxide gradient between the alveoli and the outside air? Blood continually pumped to the alveoli, and breathing in and out. 35. Which process does not result in an overall loss of energy from the organism? Photosynthesis in a green plant. 36. Anaerobic respiration in yeast can be summarized as follows. Glucose ethanol plus carbon dioxide. 37. How many molecules of carbon dioxide will be produced from the breakdown of 2 molecules of glucose? 12. 38. What are the products of aerobic respiration in a muscle? Water, carbon dioxide, and heat. 39. Scientists believe that absorption of mineral ions in plants requires energy from respiration. Which observation best supports this idea? Uptake of nitrate is reduced in lower oxygen concentrations. 40. Which of these processes rely on respiration? Muscle contraction and protein synthesis. 41. In a sprint race, athletes may have sharp muscle pains because the respiring cells produce lactic acid. 42. What lines the walls of alveoli? A film of moisture 43. Which structure is lined with cilia? Bronchus 44. Which is not a feature of alveoli? Cilia 45. When breathing out, which changes occur in the volume of the thorax, the rib cage and the diaphragm? Volume of the thorax decreases, rib, lowered cage, diaphragm, rises 46. What happens to the muscle of the diaphragm, the external intercostal muscles and the position of the diaphragm when breathing in? Diaphragm muscles contract, external intercostal muscles contract, diaphragm movement, downward 47. What gives the comparison between the anaerobic respiration in humans and in yeast? Chemical, carbon dioxide, anaerobic respiration in humans, not produced, anaerobic respiration in yeasts, produced 48. At the end of a 100 m sprint, how will blood passing through the leg muscles be different from the blood at the start of the race? Carbon dioxide concentration, higher, lactic acid concentration, higher, temperature, higher 49. What happens when we breathe out with force? Diaphragm relaxes, external intercostal muscles relax, internal intercostal muscles contract 50. What happens to the volume of the thorax and the air pressure in the lungs during breathing out? Volume of the thorax decreases and air pressure in the lungs increases 51. What are the products of anaerobic respiration in human and in yeast? Human, lactic acid and yeast, ethanol and carbon dioxide. 52. What is the balanced chemical equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast? C6H12O62C2H50 plus 2CO2 53. What part is played by sweat glands during the process of sweating? Effector 54. Glucose is required for respiration. Which other molecule is required for aerobic respiration? Oxygen 55. What is produced by anaerobic respiration in mammals? Lactic acid plus carbon dioxide 56. Oxygen is required for aerobic respiration. How many molecules of oxygen are required for the aerobic respiration of 3 molecules of glucose? 18. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatter 0304610457. 57. Which process uses energy released by respiration? Growth 58. During vigorous exercise, lactic acid builds up in muscles leading to muscles leasing to an oxygen debt. Which statement describes a stage in the removal of the oxygen debt during recovery? Aerobic respiration breaks down lactic acid in the liver. 59. What is the effect on germinating seeds of increasing the temperature from 10 OC to 20 OC? An increase in the respiration rate 60. Carbon dioxide is produced by aerobic respiration. How many molecules of carbon dioxide are produced from the aerobic respiration of 3 molecules of glucose? 1861. Lactic acid builds up in the muscles during vigorous exercise. During recovery, how is this lactic acid removed? Aerobic respiration of lactic acid in the liver 62. How many molecules of ethanol are released by anaerobic respiration of 1 molecule of glucose? 263. The list shows some processes that happen in the human body. 1. Water enters cells by osmosis. 2. Muscles contract. 3. Impulses travel along neurons. 4. Oxygen diffuses into cells. Which of these require energy released by respiration? 2 and 364. The symbol equation for aerobic respiration is shown. C6HXOI plus 6026C ounce plus 6H2O65. The substance listed are associated with aerobic respiration. 1. Carbon dioxide. 2. Glucose. 3. Oxygen. 4. Water. Which substances are the products of aerobic respiration? 1 and 466. The formula C2H5OH represents a chemical produced during anaerobic respiration. What is this chemical?